The stars were vanishing, not in the way people imagined. No explosions, no flashing lights. It's just gone, one by one. Quietly in the icy cold of Antarctica, Dr. Liana Reed sat alone in a small observatory. She had been studying deep space patterns for many years, but tonight something was wrong. She looked through her telescope again. A section of the sky, filled with bright stars just days ago, was now black. She checked her system. No errors, no storms, no explanation. This isn't natural, she whispered. Far away in Washington, D.C., another scene was unfolding. Inside a dark room, U.S. Senator Grant Wells sat across from a man in a sharp suit. The man didn't blink, didn't move unless he had to, spoke softly, offering the senator advanced technology machines that could clean the air, cure disease, even extend life. There is only one price, the man said, sliding a tablet across the table. You follow our guidance quietly, for peace, Wells signed. He didn't ask who they were. He didn't ask where the man came from. Just saw power, and took it. Across the globe, the same thing was happening. Powerful people, politicians, billionaires, CEOs were being visited by quiet strangers. They offered help, and most accepted. Who would say no to saving the planet? The strangers looked human, mostly, but something in their eyes felt off. Cold, empty, like they were wearing human faces but didn't truly understand what it meant to be human. Within weeks, things began to change. World leaders started using a strange language and speeches, words that didn't fit, like unity protocol or mental calm operations. TV ads played on loop, selling peace and calm-like products. Social media became flooded with messages telling people to trust, relax, obey. Most people didn't notice, but a few did. In Tokyo, a software engineer named Kenji noticed something strange in the code of a new mental health app. Had millions of downloads. Hidden inside was a script that sent data to an unknown server not on Earth. In Nigeria, a journalist named Amina interviewed a local leader who had just returned from a global peace summit. His eyes were dull, his voice flat. She played back the recording later and heard a second voice, very low, saying, "You are calm, you are safe, you will forget." In Berlin, a young artist named Elias painted a mural of the night sky. But when he looked at it the next day, something felt wrong. He ran to his rooftop and looked up. The stars were not where they used to be. The pattern had changed. Dr. Liana Reed, still in Antarctica, connected with other astronomers online, quietly, secretly. They compared notes. The same dark patch was growing visible from different parts of Earth. It wasn't a natural space event. It was a movement, like something big was coming, blocking the stars. They called it the silence. Meanwhile, the strangers started to appear in public roles, advisors to presidents, tech experts on news panels, new CEOs. Their faces looked different each time. Always perfect, always smooth, but never human enough. They didn't need ships to land. They didn't need to fire weapons. They were already inside the system. Back in the observatory, Liana wrote one final message to her private science network. This isn't about invasion. This is influence, control. They are already here, and we're letting them in. She heard a knock on the door. No one was expected. She turned off the lights and backed into the shadows. The knock came again, slower, heavier, then silence. No footsteps, no leaving sound. Just ... silence. Outside in the frozen dark, a tall figure stood watching the building, not moving, not breathing, just waiting. The arrival wasn't loud, it wasn't violent, it was quiet, patient. They thought humans wouldn't notice, but some did. Those few would soon make a choice. Forget everything and live calmly, or fight back in silence. The President of the United States had not blinked in 6 minutes across the world. In a soundproof control room inside a news station, technician Maria Delgado stared at her screen. She replayed the president's latest speech. Everyone else thought it was normal. But she saw something. His face didn't twitch. His tone never changed. She slowed the video frame by frame. Then, she heard it. Under his voice, too quiet for normal ears, a second voice whispered, synced perfectly beneath the surface. You are safe. There is no threat. Trust the vision. Maria froze. She took off her headphones and looked around. No one else noticed. She replayed it again. It was still there, and this time the voice said something new. This message is not for you. Her hands shook. The president wasn't speaking alone. Someone or something was speaking through him. Weeks earlier, world leaders had started. To talk the same way, they used strange phrases in speeches. Global Harmony Initiative. Cognitive Unification Protocols. Nobody really understood them, but people clapped anyway. In Paris, a famous political host stopped asking real questions. He just smiled and said, "The future is bright. We must align." In Brazil, the education minister announced new learning programs. Dream discipline, they called it. Kids stared at holograms for hours, learning to let go of critical thought, parents were told. It improves obedience. No one questioned it, except a few. A young podcaster in India named Rehan started getting anonymous tips. He shared news that mainstream media ignored. One day, he received a voice message. They are inside the minds of those in power. Do not trust their eyes. Their eyes are borrowed. Rehan didn't know what that meant, till his own father. An honest government worker came home one night, quiet and strange. He didn't remember his own passwords. He smiled too much. He whispered to Rehan while looking straight ahead. They are listening now. Don't speak. Just remember who you are. Then he went to sleep and never woke up again. The doctors said heart failure. But Rehan knew the truth. His father had resisted and paid the price. Meanwhile, behind all this, the aliens remained unseen. They had no name. They had no known homeworld. Humans just called them the quiet ones. They didn't land with ships. They didn't demand surrender. They offered help, peace, order. But what they really wanted was silence. Not the silence of peace. The silence of control. In a dark room in Moscow, an underground hacker named Ilyana was decoding global broadcasts. She discovered something terrifying. The peace signals coming from Earth's leaders weren't from Earth at all. They came from a satellite orbiting behind the moon. One that didn't belong to any known country. She triangulated the signals. Path. It didn't just enter TVs and phones. It pulsed through brainwave frequencies, targeting dreams, emotions, impulses. It made people calmer, slower, easier. She uploaded her findings to the dark web titled, "They are programming the leaders. Earth is not in control." Within minutes, her screen flashed red. Her entire system burned. Literally, smoke filled the room. She grabbed her backup drive and ran. She didn't hear the silent drone that followed her through the city skies. Back. In Maria Delgado's control room, she stared at the paused screen of the president's face. She zoomed in. His pupils were not round, not human. They shimmered like black oil. She whispered, "This isn't our president anymore." Just then, all the lights in the building shut off. Her monitor flickered. A new voice played, soft, slow, terrifying. "You have heard too much. You are not authorized to understand." Maria grabbed her phone, turned on flashlight mode, and ran. She didn't know where to go. She knew one thing. The people in charge were no longer people. In just 2 months, humanity had lost control without a single shot being fired. No alien armies. No explosions. Just voices, whispers, suggestions, calm orders, wrapped in promises of peace, and humans, tired from their own chaos, welcomed it. But scattered across the world, a few still saw through the lies, and they were beginning to find each other. Because the fight hadn't ended. It had only changed shape. The first rule of surviving the quiet ones was simple. Don't talk where they can hear you. The second rule, never trust a calm face in a dim basement beneath an old bakery in Istanbul. 5 people sat in silence. No one knew each other's real names. No one looked up. Only the sound of a tiny fan filled the room. On the table, a hologram glowed, softly, a diagram of Earth, and something circling it. A voice broke the silence. It belonged to a teenage girl. Her code name, Ghostwire. They've infected every news feed, every government. They're pushing something called Project Harmony. It's not peace, it's programming. An old soldier across the table leaned forward. His name wasn't important anymore. He had fought real wars, but this was worse. They're changing how people think, he said. I saw a general order a city lockdown, not because of violence, but because too many people were asking questions. At the same time, thousands of miles away, in a hidden lab in South Africa, a blind scientist named Dr. Musa uploaded a strange video to the dark web. The title, "This is not hypnosis, this is invasion." The video showed brain scans of people watching news broadcasts. Their minds reacted like they were dreaming, even while awake. Signals matched alien frequencies. He ended the video with 5 chilling words. They are building a new reality. And then he disappeared. The resistance didn't begin with speeches or flags. It began with patterns. A software glitch here. A news anchor blinking the same way. A child drawing the same 3-eyed figure on opposite sides of the planet, again and again. People who noticed started searching for answers. They found each other in strange places. Old forums, abandoned. Frequencies, radio waves between lightning, storms. They didn't need leaders. They needed listeners. One of them was a cleaner named Rosa, who worked at a government building in Mexico City. She overheard strange meetings through air vents, words like integration, calibration, behavior, modules. One night, she found a USB drive left behind on purpose. Inside were files with human names marked adopted mind, adjusted mind, rejected mind. She was on the rejected list. She knew she had to leave. Fast, she left the city the next morning, with nothing but the drive and a note that read, "They couldn't change me. That's why I'm still dangerous." Some resistance members never met in person, like Echo, a pilot who flew cleaning drones over cities, but secretly used them to map alien signal zones. Or Zed, a street artist who sprayed walls with invisible ink that only glowed under high-frequency light, saying, "You are not alone." Every tag was a signal to the others. Every hidden file, every hacked feed. Every old radio wave, they were weapons now. But it wasn't enough to know the truth. The quiet ones had already silenced too many. People were tired, calm, obedient, and that was the most dangerous part. Obedience didn't look like fear anymore. It looked like peace. But the resistance knew. Peace without choice isn't peace. One night, inside a moving train in Germany, a young woman named Luma handed a stranger a folded napkin. On it was a symbol, a broken triangle inside a circle. The stranger looked up. No words, just a nod. They both got off at the next stop and vanished into the crowd. That napkin would lead to a secure signal, and that signal would lead to the next phase. The quiet ones were smart, but the humans, they were unpredictable. The resistance had no face, no country, no official name, but it had one shared thought. We weren't supposed to know, but we do, and now we fight back. Not with guns, not yet. With secrets, with stories. Hidden in noise because the quiet ones came with silence, and now humanity would answer. With whispers that burned, the boy screamed, but no sound came out. He stood in the middle of his school hallway, lockers melting, lights flickering, posters, dripping black ink that spelled one sentence, "You are not real." Then silence. And then, his mother walked out of the classroom, but she had no eyes. On the other side of Earth, a soldier named Malik sat in a white room. He had no memory how he got there. A voice spoke from nowhere, "Your war is over. Rest now." A screen blinked to life, showing his wife and daughter, smiling and waving at him. He stood up. "This isn't right," he whispered. My daughter died 2 years ago. The screen froze, glitched, then went black. The quiet ones had launched their next phase. When physical manipulation didn't fully work, when power, tech, and control weren't enough, they turned to the last battlefield, the human mind. They entered through dreams, through screens, through memories. They created perfect illusions. Your loved ones, your regrets, your guilt. Then they twisted it all. They called it mind realignment. They called it emotional harmony. But it was none of those things. It was a trap. Maze made from your own heart. The resistance called it the fog, strange mental state that hit people randomly. Some lost for hours, others for days. In the fog, you remembered things that never happened. Or worse, you forgot things that truly did. Rahan, the podcaster, once spent 2 days believing he lived in a peaceful future. No aliens, no control. He had a family, a house. Then he woke up in an empty warehouse, tied to a chair. There were no windows. No one had even touched him. Some didn't make it back. People wandered cities looking lost, staring at things that weren't there, talking to people who didn't exist. One woman jumped from a rooftop trying to fly back into her dream. Aliens didn't kill them. They erased them. Because the best prison is the one inside your head. But humans had something the aliens didn't understand. Pain. Real pain. Real loss. Real memory. And that pain, when channeled, became a weapon. In an underground lab near Buenos Aires, Dr. Liana Red, the same astronomer who first saw the stars vanishing, was now building the world's first emotional firewall. She called it the anchor, a device connected to the nervous system that reminded people who they really were, using their most painful memory. Not to erase it, but to hold on to it, because if they couldn't trap your mind, they couldn't trap your will. Liana tested it on herself. She closed her eyes. The memory came. Her sister dying in her arms during the early blackout attacks. Tears rolled down her cheeks, and then a voice entered her head. The alien voice. Forget her. She is gone. Let go. But the anchor pulsed, and Liana replied out loud, "No, that's exactly why I'll remember." The voice shattered. The illusion broke. She woke up gasping, but she was still herself. The resistance quickly shared the tech, not with governments, with people. They sent simple programs, anchor apps, old songs, childhood videos. Memories turned into firewalls. The aliens noticed. They pushed harder, sent waves of synthetic dreams. But the resistance was now awake while dreaming, and they had learned something terrifying. The aliens didn't create illusions because they were powerful. They did it because they were afraid. Afraid of human memory. Afraid of human pain. Afraid of the one truth they couldn't rewrite. Humans break, and then rebuild stronger. In the middle of a crowded New York street, a woman screamed and dropped to her knees. People rushed to help, but she stood up, eyes wide, and said one word: trap. She wasn't in the fog anymore. She had escaped, and now she remembered what she saw, what the aliens were really planning next. The aliens stared at the screen. Numbers flowed, emotion maps, brain signals, human behavior models. But something wasn't right. The patterns no longer made sense. Laughter at funerals, crying at jokes, fear during moments of safety, calm while under threat. These inputs are corrupted, the alien officer hissed. His assistant replied, "No, that's the new live feed. The humans are changing." Somewhere on Earth, under a burned-out library in QE, the resistance had activated Project Phantom. It wasn't a weapon. It was an idea. An idea wrapped in confusion. They had realized something powerful. The aliens didn't understand chaos. They feared irrational emotion. They couldn't process contradiction, so the resistance gave them exactly that. The plan was simple. Fake humanity. Feed them wrong data. Make them doubt their own intelligence. They started small. One group recorded. Staged public reactions, people crying after seeing butterflies, laughing after explosions. They uploaded these into captured alien surveillance systems. Another team created deepfake human leaders, giving absurd speeches about the joy of burning water or the sadness of Tuesday. The aliens monitored everything, so humans gave them everything, and none of it was real. At first, the quiet ones thought it was a glitch. Then they ran emotional analysis. Results: human response patterns no longer match known logic curves. Their AI systems began to overheat. One central unit crashed. Another refused to process further signals. Inside a massive alien command ship orbiting Earth, the commander shouted, "We need cleaner data. These readings are corrupted." But no matter how many new samples they collected, the results only got worse. Humans were now completely unpredictable, or so it seemed, in a secret bunker beneath the Swiss Alps. Resistance member Echo whispered into a mic, "We're not just fighting back. We're teaching them what it feels like to doubt." The aliens had relied on emotional predictability to control human minds, but now they couldn't tell real from fake. A mother crying over a pebble, a soldier saluting a leaf. Children refusing to speak, only humming the same eerie tune, all broadcasted, all intentional, all meant to break alien models. Then came Phase 2, reverse projection. Dr. Liana Reed, now leading resistant psychology, launched a feedback virus. It was simple. Took any alien signal meant to calm humans and echoed it back at alien systems, but twisted instead.